3985 should come back on that.
21.
Start me a card for a parking problem on the truck when you're ready.
Rocky, I'm 505. 21.
Start me a card for a parking problem.
Beyond the Call is a monthly program featuring public safety and educational topics with the Richmond Police Department. Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric.
Hi, I'm Rick Babuka, Vice President of Babcon Electric. Babcon Electric is proud to support Beyond the Call. We have been an active community sponsor for over 20 years. And if you need electric repair, don't hesitate to call. Call Babcon Electric at 859-623-3848 and expect superior service. Service beyond the call. Enjoy the program.
Hello everybody, my name is Sergeant Josh Hale. I'm with the Richmond Police Department. We are here at the WBON studios for our monthly podcast program called Beyond the Call. As always, this program is sponsored by WBON TV and also Babcon Electric. So we are excited to have you with us. I have some pretty special guests with me here today. I'll introduce them. The purpose of this show is something we do every month that we want to get out information to our community, stuff that you might not know, introduce our new officers, some of them. We give out information on our community events. So we hope that you'll join us for the rest of the program. And again, this is Beyond the Call. With me I have today our newest officers to graduate from the Department of Criminal Justice Training. To my right I have Officer Lonnie Coleman. I have Officer Cody Grohosky. To my left I have Officer Buddy Toth and then Officer Doug Gay. So thanks guys, I appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
So I guess I'm going to just kind of fire questions away to you all, and I'll just kind of pick and choose which one, and we'll ask the questions. Just I want to give our community a little bit of basic information about you all, and tell some of the things. They obviously see that we're police officers every day, and that we go out here every day and wear the uniform. But a lot of people don't know what goes into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of basically ask you some questions that tell a little bit about what kind of training you went through and who you are. So Buddy, I'll start with you. What academy class were you guys with?
We were class 492.
Okay, so what does that mean in regards to the general public? What does that number mean?
There have been 491 classes before us, so it's a long list of people, thousands of officers that have gone before us during the training at DOCJT. It's very special to us. We were all in the same class. We'll always remember class 492 with other members from all over the state that can say they're class 492. And so I think it's special to us to be a part of a certain class, as well as, like I said, there's been a long tradition of people before us that have gone ahead and done this training.
Well, just to tell my age a little bit and how long I've been doing this, so you said you're 492. I was with a group called Police Corps 5, and I was class 332. So that should tell you, how many police officers go. So how many officers are in each class?
Our class started with 40. Traditionally, I think they were closer to about 30. But again, that shows you about between 30 and 40 officers per class currently. So it shows you a large number of officers in those 400-something classes.
So you said started with 40. What happened? Did some of
due
them
to
not make it
illnesses
through?
and injuries, we had some people drop out and
Okay.
they rolled to other classes.
So I guess that lets people know that some difficult training then. So so Doug, how long is the academy?
Our academy class was 23 weeks, but after we graduated, starting with the June class, it went to 20 weeks.
Okay, so it was 23, and that's what mine was, and now we backed it down to 20. But what kind of training do you get during that 20 weeks or that 23 weeks?
We get various training, very general knowledge, DUI training, learn the intoxilizer, how to properly and safely perform traffic stops, how to clear buildings, very standard routine patrol officer duties, and they stress the officer safety portion heavily in the academy.
Sure. Okay, so in the academy, I guess you all have the safe environment, so to speak. So I guess they taught you that as soon as you get out of the academy, of course, it's not time out. We can't stop this.
Yes.
We have real life, but you have to start that training somewhere, right?
Yes, sir.
So is that basically what the academy does?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Well, so Cody, I'll go to you now. Once you graduate, we'll talk a little bit about it in a minute when we introduce you all a little bit more, but you come from a unique background. You actually were a police officer elsewhere.
Yes, sir.
So, and then you had to go back through this academy here also. So you've kind of had the double-edged sword with the policing. But once you get out of the academy, what kind of training do you all go through? And I know you're in training now, getting ready to get released. So what do you go through?
Right now we're going through a FTO PTO phase. So basically we are riding or driving a cruiser with a training officer. They pretty much shadow us, make sure we're doing everything properly. And if we have any questions, we can ask them for guidance. But they're mainly there to make sure that we can actually do our job, make sure we can apply everything we learn from the academy, and just make sure that we can do everything correctly.
So when people see you out in public, so obviously Richmond is not a small town, but not large enough for us to be able to have two-man units. So that's basically what we're going. When the public sees that, that's obviously what that is. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Lonnie, how well have you guys and gals there? How well have you all been received by the department and the community?
I think we've been received fairly well. Even before the academy, we started a new thing where we rode with an officer before we even went to the academy.
Okay.
Kind of learning geography a little bit, also getting to learn some of the people that we'll be out with more often or that we'll encounter during holidays that help us do certain festivals and all that. So I think especially the officers have been very welcoming, very helpful. Even officers that aren't training officers make sure that they kind of give us some tips and tricks that they've learned beforehand. And we actually had the opportunity to help with a summer camp, and the kids absolutely loved us. So it's been great so far.
So I guess that I was going to ask you all that. That was my next question. Have you enjoyed your time with the community events? Obviously, the 4th of July, we had you work. Everybody works on 4th of July. Very, very hot. But other than the temperature, did you all enjoy that? And one of the bigger events for Richmond.
Absolutely.
Very much.
Good. And then summer camp is an entity all itself. So you all spent 5 weeks, or sometimes some of the 5 weeks with some of our summer camp kids, 50 teenagers. I know you all went to a Reds game, and you went to the zoo and hung out with them, and then of course I saw you the other day on the inflatables, and
Yep.
you all went down the water slide together. So I hope you've had fun. That's one of those things that Richmond's been doing for 10 years. So I'm glad you all got to be a part of that. So what we're going to do, I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to take a break at this time, and when we come back, I want to get to know you all a little bit more, tell other people about who you are, maybe where you come from, and then how you transplanted to Richmond, and hopefully we can keep you here for forever to be police officers, all right? So, as always, this is Beyond the Call. My name is Sergeant Josh Hale with the Richmond Police Department, brought to you by WBON TV and Babcon Electric. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Rick Babuka, Vice President of Babcon Electric. Trust the experts at Babcon with your summer electrical service needs. One call will make your home safer, more comfortable, and more energy efficient. No job is too big or too small. We'll arrive promptly and get the job done right the first time. Babcon technicians are fully licensed and insured. Plus, we're a proud member of the Better Business Bureau. Babcon Electric, serving Central Kentucky for over 20 years.
Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric.
Hello, welcome back to Beyond the Call. This is our second segment for our Friday, July 27th episode. With me I have, to my left, Officer Buddy Toth. I have Officer Doug Gay. To my right I have Officer Lonnie Coleman, and then also Officer Cody Grohowski. So, we have just been talking about some of the ways that some of the things they experienced in the academy and some of the things that they've been through in going through training. So now we're going to take a minute. We're going to introduce who they are, tell where they come from. Each one of them comes from a different location, and they have transplanted to the city of Richmond. So we are obviously glad to be doing recruitment to bring people into the police department here for the city of Richmond. So, Buddy, I'll start with you. Tell everybody where you're from. What kind of your backstory.
So I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, about 40 miles due west of downtown Chicago. Lived there all the way through high school. Ended up in Kentucky by way of University of Cumberland's down in Williamsburg. Spent 4 years down there. Fell in love with Kentucky, decided to stay. Moved to Lexington for about a year and a half while I was living and working there, trying to get a police job. I really liked Richmond. It's where my fiance goes to school. Spend a lot of time in Richmond, and really like the area and the size of the department. And so I decided to apply when I saw the opening, and that's how I ended up in Richmond.
Very cool. And you're getting married here pretty soon.
September,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just give you these words of wisdom, and I'll say this to publicly. Happy wife is happy life. All right. So just we're glad to have you, and thankful that you came from all the way down from Chicago. So totally different growing up in the big city of Chicago, coming to Richmond, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. So not quite the same kind of traffic that you deal with, right?
No, definitely not.
All right. Doug, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Breathitt County in eastern Kentucky. It is a very small county, or well, it's a large county, but very small city. And moving here, it was a big shock at how much people you can fit into a small area.
And then he came from Chicago.
Yeah,
so,
and then it's even bigger. I've always wanted to be a police officer, and my grandmother lives down here. A lot of my family came from Richmond, and I heard that Richmond was hiring. And so I started to do some research, started asking around, and I heard a lot of positive things about Richmond. And I put in my application, and I was lucky enough to get selected.
Well, on that note, I want to go ahead and say we're actually going to be doing a recruitment push again here pretty soon. So those of you watching, or those of you that see this later on, make sure you go file an application if you want to, because you'll get to work with these fine people and hang out with us here in the city of Richmond. So and we'll get into that later on and give you more information about that when we can. But you know, we're glad to have you, and we appreciate you coming. So Cody, you are from, not originally from Ohio, but you worked in Ohio. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So tell us about yourself.
Like you said, I worked in Ohio as a police officer for 2 years, and the only reason that was a thing was because I've always lived in Kentucky.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a police officer in Kentucky, but Ohio was hiring, and you could also be slightly younger to be a police officer in Ohio. So it was more of me being impatient about it, and so I went ahead and jumped right into that. Went to the academy in Ohio, which is actually it's about 200 or 300 hours shorter than the police academy here.
So a significant difference in training.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a lot different, and so yes, I did have to. When I came back to Kentucky, I had to. Whenever I got hired by Richmond, I had to go back through the academy, the 23-week long academy, which was a good experience because Kentucky's a lot different. They have different training. They have very good training, I think. I feel like I've, learned a lot going through the academy here, and so far I've learned a lot working for the city of Richmond. It seems like it's a much bigger experience. I worked in a small village in Ohio compared to a large city here in Richmond.
So different worlds, basically.
Yes, much different.
Well, that's going to bring us to our last guest here, Lonnie Coleman. You definitely come from a different location. So tell us where you're from.
I was born and raised in Germany. I moved to the United States when I was almost 12 years old. Moved to northern Kentucky, the Florence, Cincinnati area. After high school, I decided to come down to Richmond to attend Eastern Kentucky University and get a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. It was one of the best schools in the nation for that kind of degree. Mm-hmm. And although I didn't have family down here, I was so used to moving around that I actually made Richmond my home and felt very comfortable here. It wasn't a big city like Cincinnati, but it also wasn't to where you had to drive 20 minutes to get cell phone reception. And I ended up falling in love with the people. They're so friendly down here versus city people who just kind of push you out of the way and you never get to actually know anybody.
Come on now. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's so many. You're just like a face in the crowd. And, you have a chance to actually get to know the people that you work with around here. So I heard good things about Richmond. I like living down here. I met my boyfriend down here, who's actually now my husband. So I wanted to stay around here, apply for Richmond, was asked plenty of times why I didn't apply for other departments like University of Kentucky, Lexington, but just knowing the people here, and I had already made friends with some of the officers, I just really, really wanted to work here versus anywhere else because it is a great department.
Well, and again, we're glad to have all of you. So we're missing one out of the what has been given you the nickname. We just had our awards banquet here last week, and I think you all. I'll get Randy the information here, and maybe we can put your all's picture up on our podcast with this. But you all racked up in the academy on some awards. So, quite a few significant awards that you got. So you've been dubbed the nickname the Fab Five. We're obviously missing one. We're missing Officer Tanner Lee right now, but maybe some of your previous classes would want to disagree on who's better, but I think that's a good thing for the city of Richmond so that we can keep getting good recruits. But we are glad to have you here, and again, and I say this as a sergeant for you all and one that's been here for years. I also transplanted to Richmond and stayed, so we're glad to have you all here and glad that you can be a part of all this. So anything that we can do as a community, as a police department, we want to make sure that we do what we can to keep you here. Now, thanks to your comment, though, we may never be allowed to go back to Chicago, but but we'll smooth that bridge over, or we'll deal with that later. But we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back, and then I'm going to tell you all about some of the events that we have coming up for the city of Richmond and some basic information that you need for the public. This is Beyond the Call. My name is Sergeant Josh Hale with the Richmond Police Department, brought to you by WBON TV and Babcon Electric. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Rick Babuka, Vice President of Babcon Electric. Trust the experts at Babcon with your summer electrical service needs. One call will make your home safer, more comfortable, and more energy efficient. No job is too big or too small. We'll arrive promptly and get the job done right the first time. Babcon technicians are fully licensed and insured. Plus, we're a proud member of the Better Business Bureau. Babcon Electric, serving Central Kentucky for over 20 years.
Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric.
Hello and welcome back. My name is Sergeant Josh Hale. This is Beyond the Call, our radio podcast program we do for the Richmond Police Department, brought to you by WBON TV and also Babcon Electric. We're having a good time. I've got some of our newly graduated recruits from the Department of Criminal Justice Training, now officers. I've got with me Officer Buddy Toth. I've got Lonnie Coleman, and then I've got Cody Gerhosky. We had Doug Gay here, but he's been up for 24 hours, so he went home, and we gave him the rest of the day off. But we've been sitting here hanging out and talking and enjoying our program, getting to know them as officers and what they bring to your community. And with that in mind, I'm going to talk to you about some of our upcoming events that we have for our community. This is one of our favorite segments that we do because we get to promote information and good things that the Richmond Police Department is bringing to you. So, up first, I think that we have, I want to thank you guys first for your summer camp. We just got done with all our police summer camp things that we did. It was 5 weeks long. You all got to go to the zoo and to the Reds game and go down inflatables and hang out with the 50 kids that we allowed to come to the program. So I know that those kids, it meant a lot to them, and it means a lot to our community because of the way you serve that. We work with God's Outreach for that program, and we give food on the weekends. So we work with the Madison County Schools food programs. A lot went into that, and we appreciate your help. So that's one of the things that we just wrapped up. The next event that I can think of that we have coming up is probably our Duncan Copp event. That is August 18th, and that is going to be from 11 to 1 at the Richmond Police Department. We started this program last year, so this is our second year doing it. It's sponsored with Dunkin' Donuts and also Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Bluegrass, and we try our best to pair some of these kids up with the Bigs in Blue program with police officers to be mentors. So come out that day. Again, it's August 18th from 11 to 1 at RPD. Kona Ice is also going to be there, so we want to thank them for coming out. Again, Dunkin' Donuts, Cops and Donuts, so they're going to be there giving donuts and coffee and stuff like that. It's probably going to be hot that day, so just wear something comfortable, come out and hang out with us, throw a softball to dunk a police officer, come play a game with us. But Duncan Copp is August 18th. October 18th is something that I was just told about this morning. I'll give more information out as I can about that. But October 18th at EKU baseball field, apparently we are going to be the Richmond Police Department is taking on the Richmond Fire Department for a softball game. So we're excited about that. The only thing I have for you right now is that it's October 18th at 6:30 p.m. at EKU. So more to come on that, more information. Of course, we have our Citizens Police Academy coming up, and Gwendolyn is holding our Facebook Live video right now and taking care of that. She's done that before. That is coming up starting September 10th through November 12th. Now that's a long program, but it's on Monday nights only from 6:30 to 8:30 or 9. So absolutely free program. We want you to come be a part of it. Applications are available online on our website. We'll put a Facebook link up also on that, and then you can get them at any one of the police departments that are involved with this. That's EKU, that's also MSO, the Sheriff's Department, State Police, Berea or Richmond Police Department. So big cooperation that we have with that program, and it's a lot of fun, again, free to you. So it's not an academy where you get to come and automatically be like these guys. I'm sorry. But it is a fun program where you can see just what we go through, some of the things that you can experience. You're going to work on traffic stops. You're going to get to do, you don't get to shoot. Sorry, Randy. We'll work on that for the future, though. We do traffic stops. We do different things like building searches. You're going to work with the ERU team, maybe see the canine. So lots of fun stuff that you'll get to do. So I would highly encourage you to do it. Must be 18 years of age or older to do it. So because there are some legality things that we want to make sure that that you're safe with that. So we have that coming up. So that's Citizens Police Academy. It's never too early to tell you that it's 4 months away from Turkey Bowl. This will be Turkey Bowl 8, I think, that we're doing. That's our flag football game between the police department and the fire department. And I know you guys just got here recently. That's a big thing that we do. Not that we're doing any trash talking early or anything like that, but to all my RFD guys out there, 4 months away, and we are ready. So, trophy right now, still sitting with the police department. I may have just doomed us, hopefully not. But yeah, knock on wood. Hopefully I didn't just doom us to get our trophy taken away from us. But we hope you'll join us. It's usually the first Sunday in November, and that goes to benefit God's Outreach, and we raise canned foods and stuff like that. Another thing we have coming up in November, it's not written on my list here, but we're getting ready to start our Feed the Families campaign. We raised, I think, 10,000 pounds of food last year to take care of the families in Madison County. So we're going to put our cruiser out probably by Walmart again like we did last year and just let you donate food, and we could also donate that food to God's Outreach. So that'll go all the way through the holidays. We're really planning ahead this year, so lots of stuff going on with that. As I wrap up those community events, also I want to go over a few things in this last little segment. We also have our Facebook page and our Twitter page, which obviously on Facebook Live, you're not seeing that right this second, but Randy will put all that on there here in a little while, and you'll see all the links that you need for that. With that in mind, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, but a lot of people will send us messages on those social media platforms. If you have an emergency, make sure you don't send us information on Facebook or Twitter. Make sure you call 911. 911 will get you to our emergency dispatch, and that'll give you any emergency agency you need to in Madison County, and we'll get you the help that you need. But don't send us a message on Facebook because it's not always monitored and taken care of. On the flip side of that, if you don't have an emergency, you need an officer, need somebody to come meet with you, our non-emergency number for dispatch is 859-624-4776. That's something that you can get a hold of an officer if you need a police report, anything like that. Hopefully not, but we'll come out and we'll come service you that way. So again, just make sure you call 911 if you have any kind of emergency. That will wrap up all of that. I want to thank, as always, our sponsors, WBON TV. We're in a different location today, those of you who watch the podcast program. Next month, really excited about it. We actually have some very, very special guests. We're going to be on location in Frankfurt for one of them, and then we have a couple other people that we're going to be interviewing very, very soon. So we're going to be changing locations soon with the program Beyond the Call. So we want to thank WBON TV. Want to thank Babcon Electric for everything that they do, keeping our program going and all the stuff we do. And guys, I want to thank you all for coming. I know I apologize it was short notice, but I appreciate you all taking time out of your day and stuff to come and hang out with us and introduce yourselves, because I think it's important to the city of Richmond.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So with that in mind, my name is Sergeant Josh Hale. This is Beyond the Call, our monthly podcast program brought to you by WBON TV and Babcon Electric. We will see you soon. Thanks.
Bracking outside the fence. 21.
30 cars for a parking crossing.
Beyond the Call is a monthly program featuring public safety and educational topics with the Richmond Police Department. Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric.